Are you trying to create a normal life amidst a pandemic? Are you trying to navigate all the fear and division in our country? There's one way to do this, one answer. Perfect love drives out all fear. This declaration of Jesus from 1 John 4:18 offers us a pathway to a fearless life. It is also our parish's theme for this year, and will bring meaning and direction and purpose to everything that we will be doing in this coming year as a parish, and I hope for each of you as parishioners. Perfect love drives out all fear. Along these lines, the scripture readings for this weekend match up, are truly providential. In our first reading from SIRACH 27, we hear, "Wrath and anger are hateful things, yet the sinner hugs them tight." We are all sinners, and we are steeped in a culture where wrath and anger are celebrated. It is easy to get caught up in it or lost and confused by it. Those of us who are not angry and vengeful are likely suffering from fear by witnessing these being so pervasive in our country today. In our responsorial psalm that we just sang from Psalm 103, Jesus Christ is the Lord that the psalmist speaks about, who's so kind and merciful, slow to anger and rich in compassion. And we're called to run to him, and he will provide the healing, safety, and the peace that we long for. And we can, in turn, provide for others. In our second reading from Romans 14, we see our interconnectedness with God, and then how this can connect us to each other. St. Paul tells us, "For if we live for the Lord. And if we die for the Lord." How best to live and die for the Lord? Here's a way. The good we do and the knowledge we have and put into practice, all this has a ripple effect. If the knowledge that we have, the knowledge of Jesus Christ, of revelation, and of 2,000 years of reflecting upon and living out that revelation, if we would just put it into practice, it would have ripple effects, not just across our own hearts, our own hurts, our own memories, our own lives, but across the lives of so many others. When we do something valuable with our time, something that connects us to God and to each other, instead of soaking in the culture of the day, we will see real life begin to manifest inside of us. A real love begin to take hold of us, and a lasting peace and hope established within us, and then spread from our hearts through our homes, our schools, our workplaces, and beyond. Finally, in today's gospel reading from Matthew 18, Peter comes to Jesus with questions, seeking guidance from Jesus rather than settling with his own answers. Remember, he says, "Should I forgive my brother 7 times? The Jewish context for that is normally the law, the Mosaic law, provided for 3 or 4 times that you would have to forgive someone, and then you can move on. So Peter thought in his own mind, his own surmising, his own answers, that 7 times was double that and more than generous, and God takes it much, much further than we can ever imagine. And so we're not to remain with our own answers to our own questions. And when he does that, when he seeks guidance from Jesus, he finds answers in the person of Jesus Christ. And he finds a beautiful way to live his life for the Lord and for the good of other people. We too should come to Jesus and do what Peter did. Seek guidance rather than remain with our own estimation of our own selves and our own answers, which we all do, right? Like Peter, we will not only find answers, we'll find something more than facts. We'll find a person, Jesus Christ, who is the answer. And he will help us find a way to live our lives for God and for the good of other people. All of this, these 4 readings, leads us to what we want to do as a parish together in this coming year. And our staff has been working on this for months, along with many of our parish leadership. We want to live under the banner of Jesus Christ, of his words specifically. Perfect love drives out all fear. How is this possible? Simply put, what we just heard, by spending some of the precious time that God has given to us in this life to get closer to him. And when we get closer to God, we will turn away from hateful things and division. We'll be transformed by God's mercy and compassion. And we will live and die for the Lord, and this will have a positive ripple effect across the lives of so many other people. And all we have to do is do what Peter did. Let go of our ego and our pride and our hurts, and stop being satisfied with our own estimation of our own self and our own answers, and seek guidance. And allow him to lead us to the answers that we seek. Not a bunch of facts, not a bunch of information, but a person. Jesus, who is the way, the truth, and the life. Here at St. Francis, we have multiple ways that we can get closer to the Lord. And we, as I mentioned, have been working on these for months, for this day, for this time. In fact, this is what we're doing with our annual stewardship of time. This is what this drive is all about as we launch it today, this weekend. God makes us stewards, not just of the earth, not just of our treasures, not just of our talents. He makes us stewards of time. And he asks us to steward the time that he gives us. And the time that he gives us on this earth is simply to seek him and get closer to him. So here's some of the opportunities to get closer to the Lord here at St. Francis in this coming year, and thereby receive what we need to have a positive effect upon our lives and the lives of so many other people. And here's what I ask of you as your pastor. Please choose at least one of the offerings that we're presenting to you today, to spend a little time getting closer to the Lord, and then let the Lord take it from there. And trust that he can and will, but it will take a little bit of the time that God has given you. And can you imagine what this parish will look like a year from now if every single person in this church, among the 3 masses and those who are tuning into us through our live stream, could you imagine what our lives will be like a year from now if we do this? And can you imagine what this parish will look like and live like a year from now if each of us just does one thing this year to get closer to God? This week, then then for at least one offering to grow in faith and relationship with Jesus here at St. Francis Parish. And I'm not asking you to give anything. No, receive. Receive, receive. Then next week, we'll let everyone know how many responses we've had received to date from all of you as individuals who then registered in this week for upcoming opportunities to grow in faith in our parish. So here are these opportunities, and then I'll talk to you about how to register. Alpha. Everyone should experience Alpha. We've already had over half of the adults in our parish go through it. Over 700 of our adults have gone for Alpha in less than 3 years. And something new for us this year is the Alpha Marriage course. It's a separate experience with different content for married couples. And then later on this year, we'll offer another marriage course called What is Love? We do scripture studies all year long, and here's a new one for us. It's called Jesus, the Way, the Truth, and the Life. Jesus, the answer. And then, as you know, we've been doing a series of scripture studies under the title of Seeds of Faith Scripture Studies, and it happens right before this Mass. So you can register for it. You can come and do a deep dive into scriptures and then come to Mass. Or go to the earlier Mass and then stay afterwards for the scripture study. Ask. We've been doing it for 3 years, multiple times a year. It means adults seeking knowledge, the knowledge of the person of Jesus Christ. We just did one, and we had our typical 30 or 40 or so people show up for that on a Wednesday night. Somebody suggested that we also should do it through Facebook Live. They ran the Facebook Live for us as a parishioner, and we had an additional 1,300 people show up virtually. RCIA, Becoming Catholic. Eucharistic Adoration. The Lord's waiting for you right behind this wall in the monstrance for you to come and be with Him. And there's all kinds of 1-hour slots available, or you can do a once monthly with a community service with worship and praise music and extra priest here for confessions and prayer teams to pray, whatever it is that you're struggling with. Abide. This is new for us this year too. It's a new young adult group for people in their 20s and their 30s. Walking with Purpose is our discipleship group for women. We had about 120 or so of our women involved with Walking with Purpose. It's also a Bible study this past year. What about the rest of you who weren't there? What is it in your life that is more than what God can offer you? And the same goes with our men. For That Man Is You, we just started it on Saturday morning. We had a great turnout, I think, for men. We never get the turnout that we get for the women. So they had about 50 or so men show up. And it's a discipleship group for men. It's, again, a deep dive into the scriptures. And what it really is about is a vision and a learning and an exchange from one another's lives as we watch a little video, a little movie each time we gather together, and we break it down and how this can apply to our lives. It's a vision of man fully alive. It's all about masculine spirituality. So I asked the men of our parish, where were you this Saturday? And what was more than that? And if the excuses come like, well, I was with my kid for a sports team, or I was at this or that, what better way to actually espouse your spouse, to shepherd your spouse, to guide your children, than to give yourself opportunities to become the man that God has created you to become? Think of what fatherhood and husbandry would be if we learned from Jesus who he created us to be. And that's what That Man Is You is. Soul Sisters and Vanguard. This is a group that you won't sign up for. It's by appointment only. And it's Tina, who's our director for evangelization and faith formation, has hand-selected a group of women, about 20 or so. And she's pouring into them over time, and they are going to be the leadership, the women's leadership of our parish, helping to get even more opportunities for women to grow in our parish in the next couple years. And I've done the same thing with creating a men's leadership team. It's called Vanguard, with their own leadership structure, and about 20 or 30 guys involved with it to get social opportunities going, just so we can build friendships and know one another, and then from that friendship allow the Lord to walk more deeply in our lives through spiritual opportunities, and then engagement, rolling up our sleeves as men and getting things done around this parish. That will be the two groups that will guide a lot of our men's and women's outreach and ministries. Mom's Morning Out just started had a great turnout on Saturday morning. Belonging is for parents preparing for baptism of their children. The days are done when you sign up for baptism and you just get one little course. It's much more than that now. It needs to be, because you're going to be parents of not just a baby, but of a soul that will be eternally with God or without God. And you're the one that God is giving those children to. Fruit of the Vine prayer group, Lectio Divina prayer group. They're both wonderful opportunities in prayer in a group to grow closer to God. And if you've never even heard of Lectio Divina, it's beautiful. It's meditating with the scriptures, not just reading them, but then doing it with somebody who guides you in the meditation and helps you actually to learn how to pray with scriptures rather than try to read them and not understand them. Non-solemn is a new offering this year too. In Latin, it means never alone. And it's our new ministry of healing for divorced Catholics. As a priest, I've had many individuals who have gone through the pains of divorce, and many who have come to me and have said to me that once they have gone through divorce, they feel as if they're a second-hand Catholic citizen. Why is that? How does that happen? And others have come to me and said that they, with questions like, am I allowed to continue to receive Holy Communion as a divorced Catholic? Absolutely, yes. But the fact that they don't even know that, where does that come from? And not only does non-solemn address all those facts, much, much more important, it addresses the wounded heart. The fear of trusting again. The ability to talk about and listen to and be with others, not only who have gone through the pains of divorce, but the leaders of non-solemn have gone through non-solemn and now have become leaders of it. The gift of being grand. It's a discipleship group for senior citizens. And for the kiddos, we have many of our usual things and some new things. Of course, our Catholic school, our PSR, our Parish School of Religion for elementary, our Elevate, which is our middle school youth ministry program, Chosen, which is a ministry youth style for confirmation prep, Summit, which is our high school youth ministry, and then something new is our Alive Family Catechesis, and we're doing this family catechesis in partnership with Damascus Mission Campus, Catholic Mission Campus, which is being run by a group of 20-something missionaries that have about 150 of them in Centerburg living there, just 40 or so minutes away. And they're producing high-quality videos that will be sent to any family that wants them. They're sent every week. And you get to do catechesis, you get to do faith formation, you get to do prayer together. Rather than the last couple decades, the last couple generations of Catholics dropping off their kids to a Catholic school or to PSR program, or when we used to call it CCD, and saying, here, you raise my children in the faith. I don't know how to. Look where our faith is now, a couple generations later. And so this Alive Family Catechesis is an opportunity for you to grow as a family in your own home and at your own time. They won't send it to you and say you got to do it at this precise time. You do it whenever you can. Retreats are conversion engines, and we'll keep doing them. Of course, we've been doing high school retreats and retreats for our middle schoolers, but now we're doing retreats for men and for women. We piloted it last year for the men and the women in our parish, one-day retreats, and went very well. And so we're going to continue to do that on site here at St. Francis, a one-day retreat for men and for women. But then also in conversations with Damascus, I'm on the board of trustees, and some of us as trustees have, said to them, and they themselves have been moved by the Holy Spirit to do this, and that is, why are we not doing this for adults? Well, what we've been doing for years for middle schoolers and high schoolers, why are we not doing this for men and women, putting on retreats? And so that's what we did. We piloted last year a women's retreat at Damascus on a weekend, more than a 24-hour period. It got sold out in the first 24 hours, and there was like 1,000 people on a waiting list after that. So when those retreats come around, we're not going to do the fall one as a parish. We're going to do the one for the women in the spring, and then there's another one sometime in the winter for the men. We're going to let you know when that is, and get as many of us going up as a group. So not only will we experience a retreat, but we can experience it together. And they'll put us in parish groups together. These are opportunities for, in just one weekend, the Lord completely revolutionize your life. I've seen it over and over again. It's possible. And speaker series, we'll have several of them. I'm going to tell you about the first one. It's on just a couple weeks from now, September 25th and 26th. That's a Friday night. And then the Saturday morning goes a little bit into a Saturday afternoon. It's Jeff Cavins, and it's called Activated Disciple. And 1 week in teaching you how to become activated in your faith. And Jeff Cavins, if you don't know about him, he's the biblical scholar we've been using for a lot of our Bible studies. And usually when he speaks at national conferences for 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people at a time. But he's coming to our parish in a couple weeks. Let's not miss this. The Friday night talk is appropriately entitled Hope in Times of Turmoil. Everything I just mentioned is not just in person, but also you'll have the opportunity to do it virtually. And all this information is located in our Perfect Love Drives Out All Fear brochure. It's a brochure at the tables at all the entrances to the church. Just please take one home. It offers us a pathway to a fearless life and a life fully alive in God. This brochure, please take the time just to pass by and to pick that up. Because of COVID, we're not handing it out to you, so you'll have to pick one up for yourself. And Perfect Love Drives Out All Fear is our biblical theme for our parish for this year. In these crazy, mixed up, fearful, and divided times in our country, there is no better theme for us or life for us to commit to than allowing ourselves the occasion to receive God's perfect love through ongoing faith formation opportunities, so that God can indeed cast out fear from our hearts and then help us do the same for the hearts of so many around us. At 12:15, just a little bit after this Mass today, we'll send out to you a parish flock note, which will have all these faith formation offerings and little details about what they are, along with links for each of them for you to register for them. Now, if you don't use any kind of internet, that's fine. A lot of this is in the bulletin too, and you can just do the stuff through the bulletin. Another place to get all this information about growing your faith can be found on our parish website at stfrancisparish.net. And finally, we have a new way for you to register for our faith formation offerings here at St. Francis. It's called Church Center app. We've been piloting it kind of quietly and working out the wrinkles for us. It's ready to launch and it's up and running. We will send you information this afternoon and again in the bulletin, information on how to download and use the Church Center app for our parish events. It's as easy as going to the App Store, searching for Church Center, downloading, identifying St. Francis de Sales as your parish, and then all the events we offer here are at your fingertips. I mean, we are making it as easy as possible for you to spend as least amount of time registering for something. St. Peter got closer to Jesus and then brought many more people to Jesus simply by asking questions and not remaining with his own answers and seeking guidance from Jesus. One of the problems I know that we run into is that we remain with our own estimation of ourselves. And it goes something like this: I'm fine with my spiritual life as it is. Let me tell you this, no, you're not. And the very fact that you think you are is a revelation that you are not. There's always more. And God is calling us all to more. And so this thinking that the way I'm living my life right now is enough is a lie. That someone told you and you started telling yourself over and over again and now you believe it. Or here's the other end of that. I'm such a sinner. I shouldn't even be in a church right now, let alone come to something like this. And on we throw up the objections and the excuses and the reasons why. Just, please God, just set all that aside for a little while and just sign up for one thing to grow your faith. Everything that we are offering here at St. Francis de Sales in this coming year is all geared toward getting you closer to the Lord and helping you bring many more people to Jesus. It only takes a willingness to spend some of the precious time that God gave to you in the first place to get you closer to Him, to spending some of that precious time that God has given to you in this life to seek Him and find Him. And in finding Him, discover your path to a fearless life, a way of life that allows perfect love to drive out all fear.